Thanks for joining me. I just wanted to share a story about my life, a part of a time in my life where things were really tough, and it was a defining moment in my life. And so I'll set the scene for you. I was on the farm with my partner and managing the farm and managing the workers, and I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. And my whole life was pretty much consumed with the farm. I was 7 days a week by choice. This is all by choice. The only time I'd take off for myself was on a Monday night for 2 hours to go to a meditation group. I love horse riding, and I love hanging out with my friends, and I love going to festivals and love traveling and all those things. But I wasn't doing any of it. I was just on the farm working my guts out, and it was just like, it was killing me. Like, it was really killing me. And with the more that I took on, as the manager, the less I slept. So I'd have sleepless nights, and, something woke me in the middle of the night. I couldn't get back to sleep because my mind would start about, what's got to happen what's got to happen tomorrow, and what's got to happen, who's got to do what. And, you'd start planning the day. And so then you're even more exhausted. And, to get up, like I was getting up at, most mornings at 4:30 and not finishing until late. I was just really feeling exhausted. I felt like I was drowning. I wasn't sure, what else to do, because, I've always loved farming and that's what I've always done, but I was not loving farming, and I was opening up to something different, but I just didn't know what and how and which direction to go, and even where to start to look. And so, what I wanted for myself was to hang out with my friends more and to have a purpose, like to really want to bounce out of bed in the morning and to really, know that this is my purpose. But that's not what was happening, and it hadn't been happening for years and years and years. And anyway, so one day my partner and I, we were down the paddock. We were there'd been a cow calved down the paddock. And we went down to get her and the calf, and I jumped on, you go up and jump on the calf so it doesn't run away. And I jumped on it, and it was a really strong calf. And in its struggle to get up and run away, it stood on my foot. And if for the farmers that know calves, and for you that don't, when their foot, steps on yours and grinds, even if you've got boots on, it can friggin' well hurt. And this day, it friggin' hurt. And I just collapsed in a heap on this calf and started crying my eyes out. I was broken, and I just looked up at my partner. I said, I fucking can't do this anymore. I just can't. We need to get someone in here to manage this place, because I fucking can't do it. It's killing me. And it was in that moment, like, things had to change, that was the moment where the decision was made, it was made for me. And thankfully it didn't, like a lot of people leave it too late, like until an accident happens that actually forces them to stop, or an illness comes along that forces them to stop. So I'm very grateful that it didn't get to that point. But Jesus, I reckon I was only a week or two away from that. And to boot, I was pregnant as well. So I was only just, a few weeks pregnant. But, those early days, like pregnancy takes it out of you on its own, let alone working 60 to 80-hour weeks. Oh, God. So, just saying those words to my partner, just like it was like I turned the tap on and it was just all allowed to flow out. It was like I finally have spoken the truth, and I finally said it straight, even, to myself, let alone to anyone else. Like, that was really the first time I just was like, fuck, something's got to change here. Thanks to that calf stand on my foot. Normally that would hurt. It wouldn't make me cry, but this day it broke me. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so I'm forever grateful for that calf, and I can still picture that cow and the calf and what they look like. And so, and then that set me on this whole new trajectory, and it allowed me the space. So we found a manager, and got, the manager started within a month. And so, holy shit, it took all of me to get through that month to, until the manager started. But I wouldn't have probably got through that month had I not known that managers were coming. Like if it was another month and I was still doing the same old thing, oh God, I think I would have broken harder and worse in a million pieces. But yeah, so with that, then because I was pregnant, I just stopped. It was like the manager came along and I was trying to do the transition over, and that wasn't working well because, this was my baby, and as in the farm, it was my baby, and I just was worried about these, I was trying to, in my world, I was trying to do a transition over. In their world, they're wanting to just get in and have a go because they knew what they were doing. So in the end, it ended up that I moved myself away from the farm and had nothing to do with it. And you know what? That was the best thing I did. It was hard. It was the hardest time in my life, but it was the best thing I did. And now I'm not for one moment saying that this is what anyone needs to do. I'm not for one moment saying that if you're feeling like you're drowning and you're going around in circles, that you have to up and leave your job. Only if, there's only that if you're thinking that you don't love anything about it anymore. If you still love it, but you're drowning and in circles, there's things you can do. But for me, I was not loving it anymore. So I had to leave. I had to change. Oh God. And so, what I did is I went and this was my dream, but I was never courageous enough to do it. I went and lived in a caravan in the middle of the bush off grid for 6 months and did friggin' nothing. It took me that long and some, and don't forget, I was growing a baby inside me. But it took me that long to recover from all the exhaustion that I had, that had built up over the years and on the farm, and all the responsibility and weight that I'd put on myself. So those days, whilst the very start of that was like the hardest time of my life, because all of a sudden I've gone from 60 to 80-hour weeks to nothing. It was also, once I went through that initial hardness, it was then the best time of my life. Just that, just living my dream all of a sudden, like actually doing nothing and being out in the bush away from responsibility and society and stuff. It was so lovely. And then it took me that to then come back and, back to center. So, the pendulum swung. And then I came back to center, and then I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Like, yes, okay, I had children, and, so whilst I was having children, what else am I going to do? Which is also a silly, it's not enough to raise kids. So I stayed home and I was a full-time mum, which I love. And it was so beneficial for me and my kids. But then it was sort of like, okay, I need to be starting to do something for when the kids, get a bit older and I'm not having to be there as much. So I started, doing coaching courses and things like that. And I found my own coaches. I found my own mentors. And so through all the courses and I did energy healing, like Reiki and courses and things like that. So through all the things that I've done, I've now put together this 4-step framework that I take people through the same process that I went through to get from freaking exhaustion, overworked, fucking stressed out, and not knowing what to do next, to now loving what I do, getting out of bed in the mornings, so happy to just get out and get into life. And so now I take people through this 4-step process that has proven to work time and time again. And, it's just, I love it. And it's such a great, it's an easy process, and people notice change. Like it's one of these things where people notice change, a lot of change in the first 3 weeks. And it's a 12-step, a 12-week, 4-step repeatable program that I do, and it just works time and time again. And so I invite you just to comment below and let me know, like, is this something that you're struggling with, or how did you get from, drowning, exhaustion to where you are now? Like, I'm just keen to know what others do, and if others are interested in, needing help.